We're gonna go ahead and record this particular session. Jesse over at East Campus is going to take care of that for us.
Good.
Okay. I'll give you just one more quick minute just to see. I know there were some other folks still getting into where they were going to go. But all right. All right, still some more, couple more folks joining us. Like about another like 20 seconds, and then we'll kick off. I didn't think to play any amazing music in the background. I made like, oh, this is Zoom dance party joke, and then they're all like, oh, by the way, there's an actual Zoom dance party happening right now. I was like, didn't even think about that. So, all right, I guess we'll go ahead and.
Zoom,
sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm still singing the Zoom dance party in my head. So.
Yeah, right. SpongeBob did make it to this session, though. We'll be okay. He's with us. So, all right, I guess we'll go ahead and get started then. So just to say hi to everybody. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us and coming to join us, faculty, staff, everybody here. I'm Andrew. I'm the library director over at the Porter campus. And actually, I'll just going to go and just in order if my fellow presenters want to go ahead and just introduce themselves real quick.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jessie. I'm the librarian over at the East Campus Library, and I've been here since January.
My name's Janet. I'm a librarian over here at Porter, and I've been here since September.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Whitlock. I'm an instructor of humanities here at Porter campus, and I've been with the college for about 5 years.
I forgot to give years of service. I've been here a little over 8 years now. I was at Spring Hill for 7, and I've been with Porter since February of 2020. So really what we're looking at today is we're talking about embedded librarianship. So we're talking about what it is, how it can serve our students, how it can serve our faculty. We're going to be hearing from a few different experiences from folks. So I'm going to kind of kick us off and then talk just a little bit about kind of what the resources and services are, and then a little bit about my experiences. And then Jesse and Professor Whitlock and Janet are going to go in depth to some of their work and some of their outcomes that they've had with doing this kind of thing. So essentially, especially to the faculty that we have with us. So basically, what is embedded librarianship? And essentially, it's a way to have a librarian be able to be added into the Canvas course to be able to kind of interact directly with students. So there's different types of roles that we'll see that we can offer. There's different levels of services or resources, all of which are totally up to the professor. So sometimes when we talk about, adding and embedding a librarian or having someone else in the class, it's not an incursion into the class. It's not taking control of it. Really what we're there to do is to offer a way to interact or create specified content or collaborate either directly with the students or with the faculty. So really there are various options that we can do with this. What we have here is Janet put together a great little infographic. We'll see on the next page. There's actually a link to all the kind of options right here on this little blue link. But essentially we can do embedded librarianship could be something like actually even an in-person class. I know we'll eventually be transitioning more into some in-person classes. If you have a Canvas environment for your course, let's say you have a place for assignments or discussion boards in addition to a regular class, we can also participate in an in-person class by doing an orientation. We can do it with also having some sort of off-campus presence in a Canvas class. We can do Zoom sessions for instructional sessions, helping with research strategies. A lot of times students, they don't always know all of the resources and services that are available to them. And we tell people like, go to the library, contact the librarians to get help outside of the classroom. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But a really great way is to be able to be embedded in a class. And we'll see in a second, it's sort of like having a GA or a TA in some way. We're not seeing grades, we're not altering content. But what we can do is we can really help out in the role that the library plays as a service. Sort of the human element, especially with like information literacy. So a lot of times students, they come to professors and ask about assignments and projects and things like that. Well, maybe to cut down on some of the questions professors get or to increase the quality of the work that professors are being given. If you're getting tired of getting projects and papers on the same topics all the time with the same sources that maybe aren't always as good as you'd like them to be, instead of having to have that, having a librarian in the class is able to be a more direct link to be able to get a rapport with those students and interact with them directly earlier on, and especially those information literacy skills. So it's not just so much, hey, we have all ton of material, oh, talk to the librarian, here they go. We like to act as folks that try to empower the students outside of the classroom to be able to seek that information out, evaluate the sources, navigate our resources correctly, and utilize what we've got in order to make their lives easier, and then hopefully make your lives easier, because then you're then grading something that is more along the lines of what you'd like to see. This graphic here is kind of a more expanded version of it, sort of like a menu kind of style. And like I said, we could do things either like in person, in Zoom. We can create videos and have them embedded in your class. We can have subject-specific resources and put them in. We could have something as simple as, we'll see, we have an Ask a Librarian live chat reference service. We could have just a link for that in. And we'll see that from some of my colleagues, they have various levels of involvement and various levels of interaction and collaboration that comes from that. But again, we could do it with a variety of resources geared for whatever the class might require. I'm currently embedded, was, until we wrap the semester up on Monday, embedded in several of Professor Rick Kay's psychology classes. And we can see that through EIT, I was added in as actually a classification of librarian. There is a librarian status along with like instructor, student, observer, TA. And that gives me the opportunity to be able to directly message students in Canvas. So the way my work with them has been more communication and then feedback. So when we get to the beginning of this, I send a message out to everybody. This is actually one from kind of towards the end, maybe middle end of the class, back in the very beginning of April, that I would send out to students to say, hey folks, you've got this assignment coming up. Hey folks, here are some resources specific. Here's our contact information. And it's a way to be able to send it out to everyone in the class all at once. And it also gives the students another point of contact. Sometimes I'll send this out and I have links in here to specific videos I've made, like Professor K had an annotated bibliography. So I went ahead and created videos on, well, how do you cite a book? How do you cite a journal? How do you cite a website? How do you create the page? And went through the steps through a screencast-o-matic video, put them on YouTube and sent the links out. What's nice too is that, of course, professors are also slammed with work sometimes. So a lot of times a student will see this and they'll be like, hey, Andrew, and they'll ask me a question that's also going to Professor K. Now, because I might have fewer students messaging me, I might be able to say to Rick really quickly, hey, Rick, I just wanted to touch base with you. This student reached out, or sometimes it is a direct question that I can answer if it's a directional question, not necessarily specific only for the professor. So sometimes even just replying to the student to say, hey, that's great, thanks. I also reached out to the professor, just so they've got an immediate point of contact. The student feels more engaged, the student feels more listened to, and they also have this direct way to find out about some of the services and resources that we have. This is a very flattering screenshot of one of the videos that I did through YouTube. They're closed captioned. We can do things through some of the, through Paptura or things like that if we wanted to. And that's kind of the other way we can do embedded librarianship, is that, yes, we can be directly in a class interacting with students, helping them with their assignments, their projects, their research, but we can also create resources that are specific to particular classes. So this is a page on the library's main page. We actually have what we call research guides, which are subject-specific groupings of resources. So the link to it's on the top when we get the presentation, if you want to see it later, where basically, if you're in a business class, you're in, a Spanish class, you're in a literature class, these are collections of databases and then other subject-specific resources, websites, contact information, instructional resources that allow our students to get help in addition to being able to talk to us directly. So this is like a particular page for getting help. It has information about the Writing Center with tutoring, some instructional videos, our contact info, and we can see it's specific for like web resources, videos, things like that. So that's a form of embedded librarianship too, or we, if we're interacting with you and your students, can create research guides, sometimes for specific assignments, sometimes just for a particular class, and we're always building and developing these. The Ask a Librarian service is another way to be able to engage with folks. It's a live chat reference service. You can email, you can text, you can chat live. If for some reason, a student tries to contact us in this manner and it's later, the library, let's say, isn't open right now, it's a tiered system. So there are other librarians around the state who can get these questions, and they have access to all of our login information as well, and they can help our students if necessary. If not, then they can also email us directly. So it's sort of a tiered system to try to get folks as much help live as we possibly can in a timely manner. In addition to that too, we've also got online modularized orientations through Canvas. So some of us might have been at the earlier session and seen with Ingrid that we're getting a whole new integrated library system and catalog. So some of our orientation material is going to be changing, but we're going to be hopefully creating some instructional tutorial videos that will be embedding in this as well. So that if you have, students that like, hey, that librarian spoke to us before, or, they created a video, what else do we have? They can go through basically any orientation material that the library has and then reach out to us as well. So so embedded librarianship can be, the live person. It can be a resource as well. So my level with embedded librarianship is more that direct messaging, sharing resources, answering questions, fielding things like that, with the intent of really, like I said, helping to ensure that the quality of work that you're getting as a faculty member is better. And then also there's some great collaborative work that's come out of it as well. And again, it affects the students in a positive way. There's someone else that they feel connected to, someone else they can ask questions with. I had a student that came in to get a student ID card, and I had created some videos for how to do the APA citation. And she walked in, she'd never been on campus before. And she's like, oh yeah, I recognize you immediately. I recognized your voice from the video that I watched. I was like, yes, it worked. I was thrilled, So with those kinds of things, it really helps. And especially being as distant as we are, and hopefully, as we go forward and that reduces, but a lot of, online classes is a great way to engage with students that are completely online, that don't have a Zoom session. Again, that level of collaboration, that level of support, that level of customization, and it's really at the professor's discretion. We're there to be like, hey, here's what we can do, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, but here's what we can do. Let us know what you want. And to kind of talk about what some folks have wanted, Jesse is going to go ahead and take over. And do you need me to do anything on my end, Jesse, or can you take over from here?
I can take over, just take care of the slides. So hi, everybody. As Andrew said, my name is Jessie. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the librarian over at the East Campus Library. I have been, as I mentioned earlier, I've been with the college since January, so pretty fresh. This last semester, I was embedded in the Intro to Statistics class with Professor Jorge Gavillan. So it's a math class. Something to know is that students often come into this class with pre-existing math anxiety. Professor Gavillan and I tag team. He handles the math and I handle the research and formatting. Together we make it less scary and we make it more accessible to students overall. So a little bit of background about this class. You can go to the next slide. A little bit of background about this class. The main focus of this class, there is a 6-part semester paper, and then at the end of the semester, there's a presentation that students do. With that in mind, I mostly help students in 3 ways. First, we schedule an in-class instructional session where I teach students how to navigate library databases and also how to cite and format papers using APA style. Second, we created a library resources module on the Canvas inside of the actual Canvas course where students can find written guidance on APA formatting as well as video tutorials that are specific to this course. And then lastly, I help students more through one-on-one meetings, through Canvas messaging, through Zoom meetings, through phone, email. Eventually, we're going to offer in-person meetings again. So I want to take a moment really quick to share my screen with y'all. Let me share screen, share. Fabulous. So can you guys see my Canvas course right here?
I'm pretty not showing up on mine. Do I need to stop sharing here and you can take over?
Let's see, let me try again. Share screen, screen 2. Maybe? Okay, let me try. Technical difficulties. interesting. I don't know why it's not sharing.
Let me stop sharing on my end really quickly and let's see if that changes anything.
Okay. Screen share, screen 2, share.
There we go.
Yay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So here, this is what the library resources module looks like for this Canvas course. Keep in mind that this is specific to the needs of this class. It's tailored specifically for the statistics class. So first I introduce myself. I have an introductory video. I introduce students to different kinds of tutoring services they have available. And this right here is more of the nitty gritty. So this is how to cite, they explain citation and formatting specifically for APA. Because again, they have a 6-part paper that ends up being over 20 pages. So this really breaks down all the different parts of the paper. We also include a link to the APA handout. This is compiled by PHSC Librarians. It is a really, really awesome resource. And so this really breaks down, this is how you do this type of citation. This is how you create a references page. And students find this very, very helpful. We also include a sample paper. So again, a lot of students are coming in with anxiety, and when they hear this is going to be a 20+ page paper, you know, like deer in the headlights type of look, like, I don't know if I can do that. So it's very helpful for them to have the sample, and they can see, okay, this is what a title page looks like. This is what the different section headings look like. This is how I need to label my tables and my figures, and so on and so forth. Lastly, we also include, so this was a new request that we had this semester. We added guidance on APA formatting for PowerPoint slides, for PowerPoint presentations. Students, so normally in this class, they have poster presentations, but that was moved to PowerPoint presentations for the semester. So students had a lot of questions about how to make their slides APA compliant. And then lastly, I have slides for the presentation that I gave earlier in the semester. So that's a really quick overview of what I do as an embedded librarian in this specific class. I'll hand it over to Professor Whitlock.
Hello, my name is Professor Whitlock, Rebecca Whitlock, and I'm a faculty member at Porter Campus. I teach humanities, and my experience with embedded librarianship started off in a bit of a roundabout way. If you know me, you know that one of my passions is cultivating interdisciplinary collaborations. So basically working with professors in other fields, working with staff members, working with people outside of the community to create engaging online content for our students that models discussion, intellectual openness, critical thinking skills, you know, all of those kinds of things. So in my ongoing effort to cultivate interdisciplinary collaboration, I worked on a innovative tech grant for a mobile video production studio, and this is coming soon to Porter Campus, and it will be available for faculty and staff to check out and to create their own interdisciplinary collaborations to create online content for our students. So of course, the librarians are important stakeholders in this project, and in the course of meeting with Andrew and Janet and discussing this project, we were like, hey, let's do some collaborating. And we talked about some common interest, and we realized that we all have a common interest in heavy metal music. And so we said, hey, let's make a video. And so in the process of making this video, we basically approached it as let's learn about heavy metal music as a field of academic study. And it was such a fun project. We had such a good time. And if you want to check out the video we made, the link is here. But I created a module in my Introduction to Humanities class around this video, and there was a discussion post And this is where the embedded librarianship part came in. So at this point, Janet very kindly offered to come and participate in the online discussion. And it was really, if you want to go to the next slide, I think I have a screenshot of, oh, well, we'll come back to that actually. I'll let Janet talk about that. Go to the next slide. Yeah, so in the process of students engaging in an online discussion about this video, then they have one of the people who's in the video, Janet, participating in that discussion. And I just thought it was really amazing in this time of COVID where we're all feeling so isolated. It really added a lot of human elements. And I think that that's the big, I'm a humanities teacher, so I guess that makes sense that I would say that. But the human element is really, I think, a key to successful education. The students need to feel like you're a real person and you're not just this robot on the other end of the screen, but having a real authentic conversation about a topic of interest. And so having Janet there in that discussion board was huge. It really made a big difference. It added a human element. Students were able to get immediate questions on topics that they had questions, things they wanted to learn more about. And if you want to keep going to the next slide, here's another example of a interaction we had about heavy metal. And then we expanded, Janet then went into some of my other discussion boards. If you want to go to the next slide, we had one about propaganda. And that was a topic that Janet had some expertise in, and she participated in that discussion. And so it really added a lot of dynamic elements to the discussion, and it really made it a more substantial conversation. Janet, do you want to tell a little bit about your research guide that you created? And I just have to say that's really what my initial goal is in creating interdisciplinary collaborations, is just to kind of do something that sparks your interest and then see where it leads. And that's exactly what happened in this case. And not only did we have really rich conversations online, but Janet made this really cool library guide, and she'll tell you more about that.
Oh, thank you for the kind intro, Professor Whitlock. Again, my name is Janet Schock. I'm a librarian here at the Porter campus. What was really interesting about this collaboration is, so after this video that we created, kind of alongside it, I mentioned like, oh, by the way, this has kind of been a little bit of a project, from undergrad days, like, anytime I could do a research paper about a heavy metal related topic or some sort of project, that was always kind of fun. So I had made this before as a student project at USF, and then I was able to, it was really nice to be able to apply it to Professor Whitlock's class in kind of as a partnership with this video that we made, and to give students maybe a little bit of a spark that like not every research topic has to be, especially in the humanities. I think, we get so excited about some of these topics, but we're comfortable with them. And some of the students, when they're approaching it for the first time, they might not have the same enthusiasm. But when they see something that's more familiar, or something maybe more contemporary, that could be that maybe that spark to get them interested in research in a different way. So I had the pleasure of being able to introduce this to kind of a new set of students. And then, of course, this semester I was able to participate in 2 sections of Professor Whitlock's humanities courses. And partly in the heavy metal discussion for the reasons she mentioned, but also the propaganda discussion as well was really interesting, because it really fed into kind of our mission as librarians about information literacy. And so the propaganda discussion was something that I thought it might be a way to add, we're talking about art, but we're also talking about being critical consumers of information. And obviously, when we think about the practical aspect of having a librarian embedded in a class to participate in discussion boards, this is a little bit different. This is a little bit different than a lot of things that Andrew described and a lot of things that Jesse was doing. And you may not be able to have somebody in every single discussion in every single class, but having this sort of targeted approach, depending on the nature of your course and finding those partnerships with librarians that have the expertise that you're looking for, we can really kind of help out and enhance the online learning experience for your students. And also for you, we can help, it's more interesting, I think, especially in discussion boards, when we have, it kind of becomes a routine thing. But if we can help keep the conversation moving in a different way and keep it more active, then that's gonna only make the experience more rich. I know that's been my experience in doing online learning. When there's a vibrant discussion board, I get more out of the class. And so that's one way I think, I think the students responded well, at least in the ones that I was participating in, and that made me feel really good. And then, and a couple other things. So this collaboration kind of resulted in a few different things. So we have like the discussion boards, we have a video content for a course, we have a LibGuide. And one of the things that Professor Whitlock and I have discussed is how to assist students with the resources they need to complete their final projects, like specifically a film analysis project. And that's something that a lot of the students kind of struggled with finding necessarily good quality sources. So over the summer, we're hoping to create a LibGuide for that particular assignment, and that wouldn't have come about necessarily if some of these other projects didn't start. So this is something that I really wanted to highlight, of how having an embedded librarianship partnership can be directly beneficial in many ways, but it can also yield many unexpected partnerships and results, and that only create a better learning experience and a better teaching experience for everyone. So, and that's about all I have for that part. Andrew, if you want to go to the next slide. Perfect. Did anybody have any questions? I see in the chat. Okay.
Can I just add one more statement?
Absolutely.
As a faculty member, I just, for those of you who are faculty members, I just want to encourage you to really just open your mind to the possibilities of what the librarians, the ways that they can help you, the way that these collaborations can lead to a better experience. I highly recommend, I just can't speak highly enough of our Porter campus librarians. They're amazing. So just want to give a little plug for that.
I see Professor Carpenter has asked about how do you go about setting it up. It's fortunately pretty simple. Basically, we just have a phone call or, meet in person in the library, and we talk about what it is the professor's interested in. And then based on whatever options we want to do, we can talk to EIT about what level of embeddedness we want to do. If it's a matter of we'd like to create some specific supportive course content or research materials or instructional materials, and then you take that and put it in the class and we're good to go, we can do that necessarily without EIT. But if it's playing a role in the class, like discussion boards or being able to message directly in Canvas, that would be an EIT thing. But basically the thing was, here, I'll tell you what, this is our contact information is right here for everybody. So please, and any of us, please feel free to reach out. And I know we're the ones here, the librarians specifically, at Porter, Jesse at East, kind of talking about it. But this is something that is very college-wide as well. Our colleagues at North Campus have been doing this in a very large manner with their folks too. So email us, call us, come on in, and regardless of campus or even if it's not with us, you want somebody else, we can get that going for you.
Okay, thank you. So it doesn't matter which campus we're actually teaching from?
I would get, I would probably guess to start maybe with somebody who maybe you already have an existing relationship with. And sometimes some librarians have a little bit more of a background in certain areas than others. So, if you're, one librarian might have more of a background working with the nursing faculty. So maybe they might want to reach out with that. If you're looking for somebody who, has worked with mathematics, maybe reach out to Jessie because she's already been working with that. So, if it's the online, it probably doesn't matter quite as much. But some people do, of course. It worked well for myself and Professor K because we both work here at Porter. So it can be dealer's choice, but if you already have a campus that you work with, maybe that campus might be a little easier.
Well, I haven't actually worked with a librarian in a big way, but I was just thinking this might be useful for the research or for the lab report that I have students do every semester.
Oh yeah,
So
that sounds awesome.
as far as kind of setting stuff up and helping them with figuring out how to go about researching.
I know for the nursing area, there's a cultural assessment paper, or excuse me, a community assessment paper, very much based very much on like open access demographics information. And we put together like a research guide for where to go to get all that information based on region and stuff like that. And the students were able to take that and just run with it too. So yeah, we can make it work kind of however folks want.
Okay, sounds good. I'll have to look into it this summer.
And Jesse actually just popped the link to that research guide in there.
Ah, thanks, Jesse.
And I do have to give great credit to Professor Whitlock and Janet for especially getting the heavy metal lib guide, because I love, like, on our research guides, it's like literature, business, heavy metal, you know, theater. Like I just love that like we have those pinpoint ones. They're fantastic.
One thing I'd like to stress too, I know just thinking about like, okay, does it have to be one campus or any campus? We do work, like, even though we're spread across 5 campuses, all of us are in the library crew are very closely connected. We're on, you know, we're on the phone all the time. And so we really work together as a big team. So I guess I would encourage you not to worry too much about like that specific thing. We can help guide you in the right direction if you're not sure which librarian to reach out to.
Any other questions or comments, criticism, undying praise? Anything else from our colleagues here, from fellow presenters? Anybody else? I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking here at the end.
I do want to mention, I know, Andrew, you shared the handout that we made, and that's kind of, you know, that was something we made for this presentation, not like a, you know, like an official thing, but if anybody wants that, there was a link to it further up. It's just kind of meant to be like kind of an overview of what is this embedded librarian thing, and you know, what specifically are the different types of services that can be had. So
Thank you so much, I guess, then, for everybody for coming. If there's anything else anybody else wants to add, it's an open forum. Ideas, suggestions.
Andrew, do you mind going back to the slide about the MVP studio, and I can just maybe plug that a little bit?
Sure.
oh, and that's I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that's kind of been interesting, because this has kind of come full circle, that you know, that initially reaching out about this grant, and then now we get to have some fun stuff at the library to check out.
Exactly. And I kind of skimmed over that earlier. So I just wanted to make sure that I, you know, explain that to anyone who might be interested. So I applied for the Innovative Tech Grant in September and we will now have this, basically all the equipment that you would need to do a remote video. So if you want to break out of your webcam, you know, and you want to do something on site, maybe on location. If you're a biology teacher, maybe you want to go to the park, or if you teach art history, maybe you want to go to the museum or somewhere out in the community, you can easily transport this video equipment with you. You do need to have some technical skills, some editing skills, but it should be fairly easy, you know, to use if you have some basic technical skills. And the idea is to capture interdisciplinary collaborations, or make online content even solo. And so that's basically what this equipment is for, and it will be available to check out from the Porter Campus Library. You can, but regardless of what campus you're on, but that's where it will be housed. The Porter Campus Librarians will be the custodians, and you're welcome to contact me directly if you have specific questions. But this should be available in the fall for anyone who would like to check it out. So keep that in mind.
And just one last little plug, just to kind of go with Jesse's.
Andrew, you sound really far away. Can you lean in a little more?
Sorry about that. Usually I'm so loud. Usually everyone's backing up. But what I especially like about the work that Jesse does too is that was always sort of like a pet passion of mine, was how do we get the library and mathematics closer together? You know, the tutoring center, very obviously so, has such a close relationship with so many of the mathematics faculty for the proactive, you know, and supportive role that they have with that for the practical elements of it. But being able to have the library play a role directly was something that I would always, you know, have a little bit of success with. And, you know, you always knew the faculty, you know, we got along great with them and things like that. But to actually have that kind of, you know, direct levels where you're in every class, it was, I mean, just that sort of interdisciplinary work was just phenomenal. And I got pioneered through this kind of style of program. Okay. Well, anyone else that wants to throw a heart emoji up is more than welcome to do so. But I think I guess that was kind of everything else that we had. If there were any other final observations or questions, comments. If you have an action figure with you, hold them up. Janet had one of the WWF stars dancing during the thing. We got our gigs here. You know that stereotype about librarians, very true, very boring, very rigid, very unfriendly, no sense of humor. You know, we try to live up to that every day here. So I think we can probably pop back into the main room then. I think there might be an option. If I stop sharing the screen, I think there should be an option for folks to either leave the room to go back. And I know I'll be seeing folks when we head back in there. So thank you, everybody.